Hey everybody, welcome back to Brew Sports. Welcome to Halftime. It's the part of the day where we talk about the hottest news in the sports world. And of course, nobody is hotter than Tanner Burke.
Hello, Baxter. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, Tanner.
Thank you for the compliment.
It's wonderful to have you on, Tanner. You and I are going to be bringing people halftime every single day.
We will essentially be their lunch break 5 days a week. And, I mean, who doesn't want to hang out with us for the lunch?
We are pretty tasty.
In
a
spicy,
sports
to say the
knowledge
least.
sort of way.
That's right, exactly.
My wife and your girlfriend, of course, I would have a thing to say about that. Anyway, we are excited to bring you the newest addition to Brew Sports. It is called Halftime. You can find it Monday through Friday from 11 to 12 a.m. to p.m. Central. That whole 11 to 12 thing always throws me off. I'm like, do you say it's an a.m.? Do you say it's a p.m.?
You just say it's 11 to 12, and
11 to
let
12.
the viewers figure it out for themselves.
Just go to our Brew Sports Facebook page and you'll figure it out, basically. But we've got a great show in store for all of you today. But before we get to all of that, I think we should take a moment to just kind of get to know each other a little bit better, kind of let the viewers get an idea of who we are, Tanner, because we have different backgrounds. You're from a different part of the country than I am as well, too. So give us a little bit of background about you, where you're from, the teams you support, why you love sports so much.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. As you know, my name is Tanner Burke.
Oh, hi, Tanner.
It's a beautiful name. It's a beautiful thing. But no, I'm actually I'm from Western New York, and not to be confused with the city of New York. I'm actually from Buffalo. So,
interesting.
Being born in the middle of 4 straight Super Bowl losses, I didn't choose to be a Bills fan, but I am honored to be a Bills fan at the very least. But yeah, so I'm a big Buffalo sports guy.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm being as close to Canada as I am. I'm a big hockey and football guy overall. But I do have roots here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I obviously will root for the Brewers as they move out throughout the season before they blow up in August, of course. But same with the Bucks as well. I work as an engineer for another production company out here, and yeah, I'm big into sports, and I'm excited to be a part of such a great network like Brew Sports here. It's a great opportunity, and of course to be next to the great Baxter Colburn, I think I'll be just fine.
Stop now. You're too much. But I appreciate the compliment. Well, we're excited to have you, Tanner. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you and I are going to bring, I feel like, to the table. You are used to disappointment and failure. I'm used to success and excitement as a Packer fan.
Great.
There's a lot of different various ways that we can go with our conversations.
Well, I don't want to shoot you down. I mean,
I totally get it.
I grew up with the Packers as kind of my backup team. So right around week 8,
backup team?
My backup
the
team.
Packers
My
are
mom's
not a
from
backup
Wisconsin,
team.
so I grew up, with the great Brett Favre in the background while Jim Kelly's blowing Super Bowls. But no, so I've always had the Packers as one of my backup teams. So when week 8 comes around and the Bills are 1-7 going into the bye, I'm gonna start watching the Packers.
Like, how are the Packers doing? Like, what's that? They're running the table? Well, bring them on, basically.
That's right.
Too funny. Well, yeah, I mentioned this morning on the Morning Brew, but I've been working in broadcasting for the last 6 years. Work also here for the Attention Era Media family, show host here as well for Brew Sports, and I'm just really excited to see what this network has to offer and what we as a show can offer as well, too. We are Monday through Friday from 11 to 12. You can catch us here Central Time by going and liking the Brew Sports Facebook page. Definitely drop some comments. We've already had people chiming in. Aaron says that Buffalo is a great city. Sorry to hear that you're a Bills fan. That's tough. Ha ha.
It is what it is at this
Jimmy
point.
says, woohoo, Packers. So, I mean, people are divided already, apparently, as we start the show.
That's not a bad thing.
No, of course not. I do support the Packers. I do generally support all Wisconsin sports as a whole, but the Brewers are a hard team to consistently support. I'm not a baseball fan, so that makes it more difficult, I feel like.
Okay.
The Bucks are kind of hit or miss for me as well, too, honestly. But
I'm not a rugby fan, so
I'm not a badminton
still
fan.
watch it, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Still watch it.
Olympics.
Cricket.
Shuffleboard.
Darts.
Yeah, the World Series of Darts, man.
When it's
those
prudent,
guys, that single shot on the family, people get really into it.
To go kind of off track here, but I was watching the PBA the other day, and there was some tournament going on, and I mean, I feel like every time I watch a bowling tournament, if somebody doesn't bowl a 300, I'm left disappointed because I'm like, what's
you
so
literally
great about
are getting paid.
What's so great about a 280? You know what I mean?
Seriously. They look mad about it too. They're like, only a 280.
Oh man.
Like if it's not, but I feel like it's boring though if they are bowling strikes the whole time.
So where do you draw the line?
Between 285
it's
and
like
300,
it's like being a Patriots fan and then watching them lose in the first round of the playoffs. It's like great.
Yeah.
They didn't win another Super Bowl.
We expect better. We've already won 5 Super Bowls. We need more.
unbelievable.
Greedy people.
Tom Grady?
Tom Grady, whoever he is. All right, so let's move along here with the show, Tanner. Big news this morning, if you haven't heard yet, is that Kevin Durant is out indefinitely. That's a strange word, indefinitely.
Indefinitely, it's tough to really...
Because what's his face there for Duke? Oh my gosh, Grayson Allen was out indefinitely for a game.
For a game.
What is the definition of indefinite?
I can't give you the exact definition of indefinitely, but what I will say is what they do when they say that they're not sure exactly how long he's going to be out. So yeah, I mean, if I stub my toe, I might be out indefinitely and then play it like tonight. You know what I mean? In KD's situation, it's an MCL sprain,
grade 2,
and bone bruising. So it's not. He didn't tear it. He doesn't need to have surgery. So if he did tear it and he had to have surgery, they probably would have ruled him out.
A whole nother
right away.
ball game.
Exactly.
At that point.
So in that case, yes, KD's lucky, but he's out for at least 1 month. So that's good and bad. Good in the sense that he will be back for the playoffs, and obviously Golden State's going to make the playoffs. I don't think that's a surprise.
50-10 right now. They've got 4 games over the Spurs, who are in second place. I think that makes sense.
They're pretty safe. It's a safe bet to say that they're safe.
It makes total sense to me. I mean, but this really begs the question, though. I mean, we saw Steph Curry struggling the other night, going 0 for 11 from three-point range. Is Golden State not as good as we thought they were? Or are they so overhyped that when they have a bad game, the media just is like, holy cow?
I think that's what it is. I think it's
I'm pretty sure I get notifications every time Steph Curry misses a three. He's not a perfect player, guys. He's going to miss shots.
It's true.
It happens.
There are nights where you'll have a bad game, and basketball is one of those sports where you can afford to lose a game. You can afford to have a bad game.
Warriors have lost 10 already.
Yeah, I mean, say Tom Brady on the other side. I hate going back to Tom Brady, but he's a perfect example because he's such a great quarterback.
He is.
And if he has a bad game, the media is going to be all over him too, saying like, "Oh, is he over? Is he done with? Is this his last season?"
Yeah.
And then he comes out of a 4-game suspension and wins the Super Bowl, plays better than he ever has his entire career. So.
No, I would agree with you on that one. I mean, basketball is such a funny sport. I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I follow it enough to know. But I mean, why are people not as critical about Russell Westbrook when he doesn't get a triple-double? Why is that not the end of the world? He's got, 19 now or something, like 18 or 19 triple-doubles this year?
He's got a double-double, and everyone's like, oh, he's a terrible game.
Yeah. We really expect better.
Yes,
it's like, exactly. Are you kidding? This man is playing at the absolute prime of his career, and the fact that he only scored 35 points, only got 10 rebounds, and only 4 assists.
We want 50.
He literally, if you want to look at the definition of putting a team on your back, it is Russell Westbrook with the state of Oklahoma sorely on his back, basically.
Now, I want to go back to KD really quick, though.
Please.
And in regards to Golden State, obviously they're going to be the team to beat right behind Cleveland when it comes to the championship. Basketball's
playoff time.
Basketball's one of those sports where you can predict very easily. Now, I shouldn't say very easily, but there's not as many upsets as there are in football or baseball or something like that. But Kevin Durant's in a unique spot where he is. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. He will be back at some point, and he knows that his season's not over. Now, the problem is, the fact that, yes, he is a perfect complement to Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. Now, where the problem runs in is, will they be challenged to keep that home court advantage? Now, that may play into a factor of moving into the playoffs and trying to win a championship. But
they've been so good at home this year, too. They've only lost 3 games at home, and they've only lost 7 games on the road. So
only losing 10 games.
I mean, it really depends on how you split it. But honestly, though, it's like, how do you argue against Golden State no matter what? I mean, is San Antonio better than Golden State? Maybe. Is Houston? No. Is Utah? No. Are the Clippers? No. Are the Grizzlies? Is OKC? Please. Denver? Come on now. Nobody really can say, I am going to vault myself over what the Warriors are doing and take away their home field advantage. It's just not going to happen.
I think we're in line for a rematch, of last year, and I think we're in for another treat. So
I completely agree with you on that one. And a month is not the end of the world. It really isn't. I mean,
Golden State, it's going to be fine. You guys are going to make the playoffs. You'll do just fine.
Relax.
And then you'll lose to LeBron in the championship again.
They'll run the table. Looking at what this team is doing as a whole, I mean, trying to just assume what the Warriors are doing. I mean, we knew they were going to be a good team before this. I mean, they went out, obviously, they made the signing to help fill the void of Kevin Durant, of course, now as well, too. But there's so many good players on this team that you just don't need to be worried.
They'll be okay. I mean, they were fine last year without him. And
Steph Curry missed some time as well, too, for a while last season. They were still fine.
So he'll come back right before the playoffs. Their last regular season game is 6 weeks away. Now, obviously, he's out indefinitely at the moment. 1 month, so 4 weeks right there. He may take some time to recover completely once he starts playing, but he'll be totally fine for the playoffs, and Golden State will be glad to have him back and hopefully keep everybody else at full strength and in good health.
I would agree with you on that one. All right, let's change gears. Let's go to the NFL just because that's where so many people have been talking about the last 24 hours. If you haven't heard, there's been some deals.
There's been a couple deals.
Been a lot of deals. In good and bad ways.
No, we're in a unique time of the year where the NFL is finally coming out of limbo, and some things are starting to happen. So we got the combine going on, the draft's coming up, and there's some teams out there that are trying to figure out what their identity is going to be moving forward.
Yes.
And there's certainly some players out there who are still kind of up in the air, and we'll see where we're at moving forward with any new deals and anything of that sense. So
some of the big things that have been going on, if you haven't heard, Kirk Cousins got slapped with a franchise tag. He tweeted out about it saying, "Tag, I'm it." And maybe I need to do more research about the franchise tag, but if somebody offered me whatever it is, $13 or $14 million for 1 year's worth of work, I don't know how mad I'm going to be about that. I get it, it's not a long-term contract. I get it, it's not the $80, $90 million for 5 or 6 years sort of deal. I get that. But for 1 year's worth of work, and maybe this because I'm a millennial and money is what millennials feed off of, apparently, according to society. I mean, how mad can you be if you're Kirk Cousins?
No, the franchise tag has sparked some debate over the years, and I think it's I think it's good from a franchise standpoint. I think maybe that's probably why they call it the franchise tag.
Makes sense.
From the actual organization itself, it's great because you can say, all right, we want to keep Kirk Cousins, but we don't know if he's worth $20 million a year.
Yes.
And quite frankly, I don't either. But they don't want to get rid of him because right now he's their best option. And now, can they pay him $19.95 for 1 year? Yeah, absolutely. But now all that means when you franchise tag somebody is they're not done negotiating and they don't want to let him go. So,
but then you also have to look at what they're doing as a whole. You have to look at Kirk Cousins. Is he worth $60, $70 million for 5 or 6 years? He's not worth that $100 million. He's not worth an Aaron, Rodgers contract. He's not worth, those crazy contracts that Eli got and Tony Romo and Jay Cutler and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, all those guys. He's not in that level yet. He's a great quarterback.
But he's not. I mean,
he's not the elite.
I put him in the middle of the pack. He's a franchise guy you can count on. But Is Kirk Cousins ever going to win you a Super Bowl? Not unless you have some
what if you
ungodly Hall of Famer behind you.
Yeah. What if you change scenery? What if Kirk Cousins went to Denver?
That would be interesting. Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl in Denver, and I don't think it was because Peyton Manning was a great quarterback at all.
No.
I mean, he had the worst season of probably his career, and he had the talent around him to do it. And obviously, I'm going to go ahead and say that the defense is going to be key when you have somebody like that. I mean,
yeah, of course.
From a Bills standpoint, and I hate to play favorites, but Tyrod Taylor is in the same spot as Kirk Cousins. I'm sure if Kirk Cousins came in instead of Tyrod Taylor, the Bills would come out with the same record as if they had Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
Now, where that comes into play, which is kind of funny, is you have to play to your other strengths. Now, yeah, you can say, oh, Kirk Cousins is aggressive. He's got a good arm. But you need to have the defense to complement the fact that he's not Tom Brady and he's not Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. No, and I would completely agree with you on that one, too. I mean, you look at what Washington has done the last 2 years. I mean, they made the playoffs 2 years ago. They missed the playoffs off of a Kirk Cousins interception the last year. They've got some of the pieces.
There's a couple pieces there.
But it's not enough, in my opinion.
Washington's been in kind of one of those limbos as well where they don't know what their true identity is. They've had some good players come in and some good players leave. And I think the fans are just as confused as the organization is when it comes to who are we, what are our expectations, and how are we supposed to win a Super Bowl? And again, I'll say I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins.
No, I don't think so either. Let us know your thoughts on Facebook, of course, as well, if you think the franchise tag is a good thing or not, if you think Washington is going to do anything remotely good this season, of course. We obviously need to talk about the big elephant in the room, Adrian Peterson, the Vikings declining to pay him $18 million next season. He will now hit the open market after 10 years with the Minnesota Vikings. Is he now the most valuable, sought-after free agent on the market?
That depends. Are you talking from a success standpoint on the field, or are you talking from a success standpoint for the fan base? Because I don't know a single fan base that wouldn't love to have Adrian Peterson on their team. Now, he's been injured a couple times.
You'd be surprised, though. I was listening. Okay, and I was listening to the Rich Eisen show yesterday. This is how I heard about this, but he said that he was getting torn apart on Twitter by Packer fans that said, we don't want him.
Those are the same fans that would be totally behind him when he scores his first touchdown in week 2.
Of course. Be like, greatest addition ever, Ted Thompson, genius. And that's the thing that bothers me, though, for Packer fans as well, too, or just the NFC North as a whole. We're not a splashy division. We just aren't. We don't go out. We don't sign the huge players. I mean, yes, Aaron Rodgers has done wonderful. Teddy Bridgewater, if he's healthy, could be a very good quarterback.
We'll see if that ever happens.
Matt Stafford, I don't know what to do with Matt Stafford. Jay Cutler, let's not even touch that. So you look at this, you look at Adrian Peterson, though, and if I'm Adrian Peterson, I said, look, I got 10 good years with Minnesota. I haven't played a lot the last 3 years. I got suspended for 15 games, sat around, trained, got stronger. Then I missed 13 games or 14 games last year due to an injury, but I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm good now. I feel like I've got a lot I can still offer any team. Why would I not try to go and seek out the team that basically will come at me saying, look, we'll pay you $8, $9, $10 million a year, 2 or 3 years contract with incentives. Oh, by the way, we actually have Aaron Rodgers. Oh, by the way, we have Tom Brady on our team. Those are the offers I would listen to if I'm Adrian Peterson.
100%. I mean, if I was Adrian Peterson, I'm not looking for a team like the Redskins.
Welcome back to Halftime here on Brew Sports. I'm Baxter Colburn.
And I am Tanner Burke.
All right, Tanner Burke. Small technical difficulty. One of our producers decided to push too many buttons at one time, and it freaked everything out. But it's all good.
It happens.
Sometimes
there's one button that says do not push.
You rise to that occasion, and you put the field goal wide left, or you put the field goal wide right, or you throw the interception on the goal line.
I'm not sure if that's a stab at my Buffalo
Some
sports fanhood, but
just, they can't handle the pressure, and it's okay. But we love everybody that's involved with Brew Sports.
We do. We absolutely do.
So we were talking about NFL free agency before things took place. We were about to dive into Adrian Peterson, and we were having this conversation back and forth. If you're Adrian Peterson, what do you want to do? Do you want to try to restructure your contract with the Vikings? Do you want to try to figure out what team you can go play for? You want to win a Super Bowl. You're not going to the Dolphins. You're not going to Cleveland. You're not going to Baltimore. So if you had to come up with maybe 2 or 3 legitimate locations that Adrian Peterson could potentially win a Super Bowl this season, where do you go if you're Adrian Peterson?
If I'm Adrian Peterson, I'm looking right at the top, and I don't think he's concerned about taking a lot of money at this point. He's towards the end of his career. He's 31 years old. I mean, we all know the age for running backs.
It's a miracle he's lasted this long.
It is, and he really is an inspiration. But he's looking at the teams at the top. So those teams are going to be, players for the Super Bowl, and that's obviously New England. They're going to be looking for somebody to complement LeGarrette Blount if they keep him, and then. Also, we're looking at teams like Green Bay and Atlanta. Atlanta is looking for something to come back and get over the hump. It's going to be very hard for them to get back to another Super Bowl.
Do they need a running back, though? Devonta Freeman and Tevin Coleman were exceptional, I thought.
They're phenomenal. They're phenomenal. But, Adrian Peterson, he's a talent on the field. He's a great guy to have in the locker room. And he's not going to ask for a lot of money. He's not going to get paid.
He knows that he's not going to get a lot of money either, though, too, which I think is the big thing.
But I would love for this to happen, and there's a lot of fans out there that wouldn't like this. Like we were talking about before, I would love to see him go to the Packers. I think Adrian Peterson coming over from Minnesota could be a great compliment to Eddie Lacy, and if they keep Eddie Lacy, but. He's, a lot of Packers fans might not like that very much since he's...
I don't understand why they wouldn't. You have the opportunity to arguably get one of the best running backs to ever play the game for at least another 3 or 4 years. Who's to say he doesn't just break out and have one of those 1,200-plus yard rushing seasons where he scores 15 touchdowns on the ground and he takes pressure off of Aaron Rodgers in the offense? That's what you want, don't you, Green Bay? Eddie Lacy hasn't done that.
No, he's
spent more time,
stopping at
playing
McDonald's
video
for
games
McDonald's
and
breakfast.
exactly, and just getting hurt.
No, it's going to be interesting moving forward, but Packers fans, I think, even for the fans that would be kind of sour about it at first, it really comes down to that like sibling rivalry. I hate the Jets, but we both hate the Patriots. You know what I mean? So I don't think they would be too sour about it for too long, especially, like I said before, once he scores his first touchdown as a Green Bay Packer.
And I'd agree with you on that one. Do you feel like people just, like you said, it's that sibling rivalry? Like, and I know everybody's different, and I think that's what makes the sports world great, of course, but if I have the opportunity to get my enemy or my worst opponent's best player or one of their best players, why would you not want that? It's like the whole Kevin Durant thing in Oklahoma City as well, too. I mean, sure, the Vikings fans might be mad about that, but be more mad at the organization. This isn't Adrian Peterson asking to be traded. This isn't, this is Minnesota saying, we don't want you.
No, and it's ironic because Adrian Peterson wanted to stay with Minnesota. His dad even came out at one point and said the best thing to do for Adrian Peterson would be to let him retire as a Minnesota Viking and give him that privilege, because it really has been, I'm sure, for him an honor to be with that organization for so long. And I mean, he really does sum up the entire organization as a whole. So it's going to be hard to look at him in a different uniform.
Agreed.
But as we all know, teams move on. Eventually Tom Brady will leave. Eventually Aaron Rodgers will leave, and they'll have to find a way to move on and find a better player. And if they're not done with their career at that point, they may play under a different uniform. So we'll see what happens with that moving forward.
What do you make of the whole Jamal Charles thing? He obviously has failed some of his physicals recently with the Chiefs, and he's just been very injury-riddled the last couple of years. Is he done? Does he have it? Where is he? I mean, when healthy, he's incredible. And I know that's the cliche thing to say, when he's healthy.
Especially as a running back.
When this team is healthy, when this team is performing in all cylinders, well, of course. But you're getting damaged goods if you're getting Jamal Charles. But how much is he worth? What is he worth to what team?
I think it would be smart for Jamal Charles to wait until Adrian Peterson gets signed somewhere, because Jamal Charles is still an interesting factor. Yes. I would love to have him on my team. If he's going to be healthy, yeah, I'm not going to have him as my starting running back, as my lead running back, but
makes sense.
To have him as a 2 or 3 for scenario type plays, like, yeah, absolutely, I would love to have him on there. But that's also, it brings me back to Adrian Peterson, where do you honestly believe that this 31-year-old running back is going to be one of the best running backs in the league again? I don't think it's going to happen.
I would be surprised by that, honestly. I mean, Adrian Peterson, I think, is going to have a better end of his career than Jamal Charles is, honestly. But, I mean, yeah, Jamal Charles is really that dual-purpose running back. I mean, you mentioned it to me even a couple of days ago about LaShawn McCoy maybe not be coming back with the Bills as well, too. I mean, that's a player in today's game. You want a player that can run the ball 15, 20 times a game, and they can also catch 10 to 15 passes out of the backfield as well, too. You want that dual-purpose, almost that James White for New England. I mean, that I always go back to Brian Westbrook with the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, I mean, even LaShawn McCoy, of course, but you want that player that is going to do so much more for you instead of just being your workhorse.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of teams are going to that two running back consistent system as well.
It's just, I mean, it's a passing league. It's not, you can't win championships with a phenomenal running back. Minnesota's found that out the hard way over the last 10 years,
Yeah.
So,
and they've had hardly a phenomenal running back or a phenomenal passing game.
Yes.
Because of injuries and just the way things have kind of fallen, honestly.
Now, I honestly, I really do believe that when somebody will sign Jamal Charles, somebody will sign Adrian Peterson,
100%.
and that organization, whoever it is going to be thrilled to have them. Mm-hmm. But what you're doing is you're buying a used car. So you're buying a used Ferrari. It's a 1975 Ferrari, but you're still getting a Ferrari. It may still run well.
But is it the name? Are you buying the name?
But
or
you're buying the
Yeah.
name. You're buying the name. Now, you can get a guy who, like Mike Gillislee, for example, from Buffalo, who will play just as well as Jamal Charles.
True.
I'm not saying that he's a better running back overall, but at this point in their career, I don't think you're buying a, you're not buying the brand new Corvette that you want off the lot. So,
is there a brand new Corvette available?
I don't have one. It's not mine.
I certainly don't have that either, that's for sure. All right, so free agency as a whole, of course, March 9th is going to be the big day for a lot of that stuff. The NFL Combine is also starting to kick off. It started yesterday, and now we've continued to start to move forward as well with it. at least for us local, T.J. Watt has been a name that we've heard, at least playing for the Wisconsin Badgers. We've heard he might be going to the Packers as well, too, more of that Clay Matthews style player. But this draft apparently is very, very defensive heavy, very tight end heavy as well, too, which is kind of funny because every NFL team is different when it comes to choosing a tight end and utilizing them. But is there any particular things that you're really looking forward to about this scouting combine at all, Tanner?
The scouting combine, it really isn't going to tell you too much that you don't already know or can't find out from film, from college. I think it's more of it's just a showcase, essentially, is what it is. And, I mean, you can pick and choose little things, like if a guy's running a 4.4 but he can't catch the ball, how valuable is that 4.4?
You're right.
So what I get from the combine is, and you can look at utility players and whatever, but the quarterbacks are always interesting to me from the combine because that's when you really see how incredible some of their traits are.
Yes.
And that's really, I think, where you define who's going to go where in the draft and how valuable they may be moving forward into the NFL.
Well, I mean, the big names that you're obviously hearing is Deshaun Watson, of course, from Clemson, the UNC quarterback as well, too, whose last name escapes me because it's so random. But, you know, I mean, people always talk about the big ones. It's like, who's going to be the first quarterback drafted? Because so many teams build around quarterbacks. I mean, when the Chiefs drafted Eric Fisher first overall a couple years ago in the NFL draft, people were like, "Real an offensive lineman?" Like, but you have to pick what you need. The Chiefs didn't need a quarterback. The Chiefs didn't need a running back. The Chiefs didn't need a wide receiver at that point. They needed offensive line help. And, of course, Eric Fisher has gone on to have a great career so far. So every team is different when you really boil it down. Figuring out some of these players. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's going to be a big player this year, too. I've seen even drafts that he might go to the Packers, which would be kind of cool, but I don't know where he would go, honestly, on the team. But, you know, there's marquee players available that can really help bolster a lot of teams, I feel like.
There always is, and I think going into the combine, the teams that are there and the scouts that are there, they already know the players that they want to draft. It's just a matter of figuring out how valuable are they and how much can we gain by drafting them in this position. Maybe do we need to trade up to get them? That's basically for the organization to decide where they are, where they stand with their prospects. I mean, they've had the last couple months, going into it, some teams, a couple months, to look at these players, especially through the bowl games and everything. So now what's interesting to me, and we were talking about the quarterbacks, that for some reason the quarterback position is so exciting to look at from the college level through the NFL. And
everybody loves it.
Everybody loves the quarterback. And
you can't win a game without a quarterback.
That's what I was going to say. You can't win a championship without a top-tier quarterback. So when the draft comes around and the combine comes around, it's fun to look at the quarterbacks and see what they have to offer.
Somewhere Trent Dilfer is laughing at us.
Exactly.
Like, I've got a ring, boys.
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens. You also had Ray Lewis and Ed Reed on your defense, so calm down.
Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, I mean, the quarterback position is probably the most overdrafted position. There's guys who go in the first round who have fifth-round talent,
Mm-hmm.
And then
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, and then you'll get guys like Tom Brady and Russell Wilson who get drafted in the later rounds who are just kind of like a surprise. Now, I think that is where teams will really get their worth, is looking into the later rounds and really finding those hidden gems. But the quarterbacks that are in this draft, they're interesting to watch. Deshaun Watson, I think, is obviously the most jaw-dropping. Anytime you hear a two-time Heisman finalist, he doesn't have the Heisman Trophy, but
still got to be pretty darn good, though.
To go back-to-back and be a finalist 2 years in a row and win a national championship, I mean, he's going to get drafted, and it's going to be really exciting to watch his career grow moving forward.
I completely agree with you. All right, let's transition now to NHL trade deadline day. I'm not as big of a hockey fan. I enjoy going to games, but I don't follow the league as religiously as you and other people that love hockey, of course.
There are people out there that like hockey, believe me.
I know. I'm good friends with a lot of people that love hockey. Like I said, I enjoy going to hockey games. That's kind of how my dad and his fiancée are as well, too. They love going to hockey games, but they'll go to Blackhawk games every once in a while because they live here in the Milwaukee area. But hockey is so hard. I feel like as a sports world, it's so hard to be a diehard of multiple leagues. You're either a diehard of the NFL, a diehard of the NBA. I'm just kidding. You're a diehard of Major League Baseball. You're a diehard of the NHL. But it's so hard to be dual. Like I somehow work out my soccer tri-fandom with being an NFL fan, an MLS fan, and an NWSL fan. Somehow I somehow manage that.
Soccer's tough because there's so many different leagues and there's so many teams you could follow.
It is, but when you talk about how different hockey is from football and from baseball and basketball, like trying to figure all that out and really hone in on it, I think it's so hard to do. And I think that's kind of why hockey, in my mind at least, has been kind of tossed to the back burner in terms of national media as well, too. Because they always talk about the big four.
It's always been
hockey is never number 3 or 2. It's always number 4.
It's true. And it really is regionalized, which I think is why
100%.
It doesn't get the national media that I think it deserves, because it's such a fast-paced game. It's so exciting to watch. I mean, it's the only time in any sport where it's okay to fight somebody, and there's like unwritten rules, and everybody just kind of watches you beat the heck out of the guy. So, but when it comes to the deadline here, this is an interesting time of year because there's still like a quarter of the season left, and like any deadline, you'll get some blockbuster trades, but we're just a few hours away from the deadline. It's going to be at 3 o'clock Eastern, so we're just a couple hours away. But there's when you approach the deadline as a team, you're either a buyer or a seller, and you can't really be in between. You're either
that's
going
how it's supposed to work, isn't it, though? You're either a buyer or a seller.
Yeah, right. But, I mean, for teams that are on the bubble, I think it's really hard to make that decision and say, hey, we have a quarter of a season to try and get into the playoffs, but who are we kidding? Like, if we do get in the playoffs, if we even get there,
it might not go well.
Yeah, it's not going to go well. So you have to make that decision, and it's almost like breaking up with somebody or giving up that old toy that you had or car or whatever. Sometimes you have to say we're not good enough. We're gonna play out.
Not you, it's me.
Yeah, it's not you, it's me. We're gonna go into the off season knowing that we have the best draft pick possible. Not that they're trying to lose. Tanking isn't really a thing anymore. They've kind of prevented against that, but for the buyers, it's really interesting because you're trying to play for a championship.
You're right.
So
you're right. And I just want to reference two people are making some good points on Facebook. Aaron says hockey is fun. It's like boxing plus soccer plus football plus figure skating all thrown into one. That makes a whole lot of sense, honestly. And then Alexander says, I just think you just don't like hockey. No sweat, though.
No sweat, though.
It's true, though. I mean, Alexander, if you're watching, I'm going to look into the camera and tell you this. I don't mind hockey. I just don't like to follow the league. Hockey is an event that you go to. It is not something that I personally am passionate about. I think baseball is the most ridiculous, stupid sport that we can play in this modern age. But it's an event. You go to the stadium. You drink with your friends. You sit in the outfield, and you take action in what's going on. So I don't hate hockey. I just don't follow the league. Or leagues, as it were.
That was intense.
Just wanted to get that out there for Alexander.
It was like very confrontational.
Just wanted to make that clear.
One of our fans. That's great.
So the deadline, Chad.
So the deadline, we're a few hours away. There hasn't been anything blockbuster-esque as of late.
True.
That usually happens within minutes of the deadline for some reason.
So many people live for that, though, too.
I love it. I'm a big Sabres fan, and I don't know if I'm expecting anything of the blockbuster scale
13th
today.
13th right now in the East.
But we're kind of on that bubble. When I was referencing bubble teams, I would love to see the Sabres push and make it into the playoffs. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I don't. We win a game, then we lose a game, win a game, lose a game.
Yeah.
It's at that point where we're just going to have to say, hey, this was not the year we wanted.
True.
But we also weren't expecting to win I almost said the Super Bowl. The Sabres are going to win the Super Bowl.
Maybe that's been your problem.
Way Buffalo's going to get a championship.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills and the Sabres switch players.
Exactly. Now, the teams that I'm looking at as buyers are going to be Washington, Chicago, and Pittsburgh. Three of the greats. And Pittsburgh's going to try and be the first team since 1997-98 to go back-to-back championships. Chicago just got Johnny Oduya back, so we'll see how that works out. I'm sure he's glad to be back in Chicago with his boys, while Sharp is still down in Dallas. There's a couple other things going on, nothing too crazy. Steve Ott is going to Montreal from Detroit. He's a nice, gritty player. It'll be good for them to kind of have some more leadership presence and another guy that can, duke it out with someone if he beats up on your little guy. So
true, yeah. What do you when you look at the conferences as a whole? And I don't want to get too much into hockey playoff talk yet right now, but I mean, is it safe to make the argument that the Western Conference the Western Central is the most difficult conference to play in most division? You've got the Wild, the Blackhawks, the Predators, the Blues, the Jets, the Stars, and the Avalanche.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I could be totally off kilter on this one. People are probably making fun of me right now for being like, you don't know anything about hockey.
Watch it.
I know Colorado is the worst team in the league. They got 37 points. I totally get that. But like, those at least 4 or 5 teams are some of the best in the league.
They are, and I think it's safe to say that the West is the strongest conference between the East and the West. And going down to divisions,
I feel like that's the case for all sports conferences. The Western Conference or the AFC, you know, that they're always.
So what's going on
better.
in the East? What's going on the East side?
Too
of
much
the
binge
States?
drinking. I
Too
guess.
much binge drinking.
Bostonians
Shouldn't be watching our show then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. The West in the NHL has always consistently been better, and
true.
Not that the East isn't a good conference. There's only 2 conferences, so but the balance of power has tilted slightly to the West.
True.
For years, but yeah, no, no matter what, whoever does make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, it's going to be a Game 7 run or something like that. So I would love to see Pittsburgh go back. I think it would be fun to watch Sidney Crosby win another championship. Do I necessarily like Sidney Crosby?
Is he the
No.
GOAT?
He's
not.
He had potential, but he ran into some major injuries in the middle of his career. But he's essentially the Tom Brady, or he was at one point the Tom Brady of the NHL, and nobody liked him, almost like the LeBron James of sorts. So he was supposed to be the next Wayne Gretzky, and some major injuries kind of held him away from that. But he's still definitely the best player in the NHL at the moment.
Right. And I have to go back to Alexander because he commented again here on Facebook. If you're listening in or watching, make sure you go to Brew Sports and like our page and drop comments. Alexander said he respected my comments and he agrees with me, and he thanks me very much for that. Ha ha ha. So Alexander, I hope we can be friends because obviously you seem like a cool guy, and I have nothing against hockey. I respect hockey because I enjoy ice skating, but I can't imagine trying to skate and hit and do all of that stuff either. It's just not a pretty sight. So mucho respect to anybody that loves hockey and is diehard. Everybody has passions. People think I'm funny or stupid because I like soccer.
Let me know who they are when you see them. I don't know.
The diehard hockey fans?
No, they're funny and stupid.
Oh, I'm still looking on a daily basis, basically.
No, I was going to say, I really think, you like soccer. I like hockey, and I like soccer, but I don't follow it as much as you do. And soccer, we just create $1 million idea.
I'm pretty sure, no. Somebody posted a video, I feel like, a couple months ago, people skating on an ice rink, kicking a soccer ball.
Yes.
And they played it in some country. I forget where it was. Somewhere in Europe, basically. The Europeans are always ahead of the curve.
They are, aren't they? They really are.
They really are. All right, Tanner. We gotta finish up the show here, but we gotta play a game that we like to call Start, Sit, Cut.
Yes.
Basically, where we offer 3 different players or coaches or whatnot in the sports world. You have to start one, cut one, and bench one, basically. So you get to keep that benched one, but you're not ultimately starting them. Free agency is a big topic right now in the NFL. There's at least 6 players. One of the 6 we're going to talk about is already locked up to be with a team, but it still begs a good question as a whole. So we'll start with the 3 of the more notable running backs in the NFL right now.
Okay.
Adrian Peterson, Jamal Charles, and Eddie Lacy. You have to start one, cut one.
Is it pre or post
right now.
Heavy Eddie Lacy?
Right now.
Okay, so he's still going to McDonald's.
Probably
3 or 4 days a week.
This isn't Alabama Roll Tide.
No, I love Eddie Lacy. I'm not trying to hate on Eddie
I
at
get
all.
it.
He's great.
He's a big guy.
He's
got a lot to
he's
love.
so fun to watch, and he's a funny guy. But no, so start, sit, cut. I got AP, Jamal Charles, and Eddie Lacy.
Yep.
I have to start Adrian Peterson.
Okay.
I've always loved Adrian Peterson. I think he brings the most to the table, and like we were talking about earlier, he is a step ahead of Jamal Charles still at this point in his career. It would be tough if I had to decide between Eddie Lacy and Jamal Charles. Now, I want to sit Jamal Charles. I want him on my bench, but Jamal Charles and Adrian Peterson are too close of a style for running back, and I really think that Eddie Lacy, having him on those short downs, could be a nice compliment to Adrian Peterson. So I'm going to sit Eddie Lacy. I'm going to start Adrian Peterson. And unfortunately, Jamal Charles, I'm sorry. I'm going to cut you, but I will still draft you for my fantasy team in the 5th round.
If you're still available.
If you're still available.
Well, I was hoping you were going to flip-flop Jamal and Eddie because you did exactly what I was going to do. I would start AP.
Sorry.
Jamal Charles, I don't really like Eddie Lacy. I really don't, but I think he's in... You're playing with damaged goods, as you mentioned. You're playing with used cars. It's like, do you want the 2008 used car? Do you want the 2002 used car? Do you want the 2006 used car? Like, they all have been around the block.
Or do they talk you into a lease?
Yes, or do you go and lease a brand new rookie?
A brand new Eddie Lacy.
Yes, exactly. I would be more than happy with a brand new college fresh Eddie Lacy. That would be a tremendous thing for the Packers. But Jamal gets cut, Eddie sits, and AP is my starter until proven otherwise.
Okay.
If Le'Veon Bell was in this conversation, I'd have had a harder time, honestly.
Yes, but
but he's not, thankfully.
Well, these three players were relevant for the free agency. So
exactly. All right, and then our other three going to the quarterback side of things. You've got Kirk Cousins, Tony Romo, Jay Cutler. Some people might say, well, obviously you just cut all three and go from there, but you can't. That's not how the game works.
Quarterbacks. Do I have to answer? No.
You do. You want me to go first? It's up to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to go first.
I went first last time.
I'm going to, despite what people might think, I'm going to cut Tony Romo. I'm going to keep Jay Cutler.
Really?
I'm going to sit him, though. And then I'm going to start Kirk Cousins.
Wow.
Jay Cutler is not a bad quarterback. One of my friends...
You're a Packers fan. What do you mean?
He's not a bad quarterback because, of course, he throws the ball to the other team, of course. But when you really break it down, and I've had friends of mine that write for Bleacher Report and other places that have explained this to me. They said, Jay Cutler is not a bad quarterback. They're like, yes, he has made some poor decisions, but overall, his mechanics, the statistics, he's not bad. He's really not. And I believe in Jay Cutler if he's in the right system and he doesn't look like he smoked, a lot before he went on the field. I get that. But Jay Cutler is a second-string quarterback in my lineup of three. Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback of those three. Romo is done. He's basically the equivalent of trying to play with dry ice in a pool of water. He just melts in your hands and just gone.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
It's tough.
So Kirk Cousins I start. I sit Jay Cutler, and I cut Tony Romo.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with you there.
That's fine.
I'm gonna have to
I'd be mad if you agreed with me.
What's funny is at one point or another, all three of these quarterbacks were in talks to be a Bill in the last couple of years.
Aren't they always, though?
Yeah, every quarterback in the league has been talked about in some way or another. But no, I am absolutely going to have to cut the Cutler.
Cut the Cutler.
And I'll spend his money on some new cutlery.
Are you done?
It had to have at least one bad joke today, right?
You get one.
I'm cutting Cutler.
Okay.
I'm going to start Tony Romo because of his experience, but he's going to have to stay healthy.
He's fragile, though. I feel like if you breathe on him, he breaks
That's why you sit Cousins. You have a guy like Cousins
on
your bench.
Why are you banking so much on your second-string quarterback?
I don't need Cousins coming out of the locker room, going into a press conference, just screaming at the media.
You like that?
You like that?
Woo!
So I would start Tony Romo.
Okay.
I really think you're going to need the tools around him to be successful.
True.
And when he does get injured,
he will.
Kirk Cousins is right there, and he'll be hungry, and he'll want to get out there, and then he'll probably earn the role, just like Dak Prescott.
Anyway, people responded on Facebook. We should talk about that briefly. Alexander, my new best friend here, says start AP, bench Charles, cut Lacey. Jimmy says start Lacey. Why? Sit Charles, cut AP. I have my reasons. Okay, Jimmy. We'll talk to Jimmy, I guess. Aaron says cut Charles, sit Lacey, start AP, and then Aaron also said cut Cutler, start Romo, sit Cousins. So you and your boy Aaron are on the same.
I can get behind that. Yeah.
All right, Tanner. Closing thoughts as we finish up our halftime broadcast here.
There's going to be a lot of interesting stuff coming up here in the next week or so. So we'll have plenty to talk about next week. So definitely tune in to our show. Again, we are 5 days a week from 11 to 12 Central Time for all of our friends on the East and West Coast. It is a pleasure to be a part of this broadcast with you, the flagship Bruce Sports Network station. I am Tanner Burke, and my good friend here. It's an honor.
I appreciate it, Tanner. All right, he is Tanner. I'm Baxter. 11 to 12. We'll be back again tomorrow. Some NFL talk, some other craziness going on as well, too. This has been Halftime on Bruce Sports. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.